We are the champions once again. Harry Kane is the champion at long last. Bayern sind die Champion. Bayern sind die Champion. Bayern sind die Champion of the Bundesliga. That's right, folks, back once again with another video today. It's all about Bundesliga action as we try to wrap up the season in quick fire. That's right, not long to the end of the season, but what we do know is that Bayern are champions once again. We'll get into all of that and more in a second. If you knew where you've been, smash your subscribe. You want to subscribe for Bundesliga, Blabbing Rovers, World Football. We're going to all hear under one Ruski, the first bit of silverware of hopefully many for Harry Kane, as of course he completes the title with Bayern and this past weekend, despite tripping up. Of course, Leverkusen also tripped them up themselves. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in just a second. Big shout out to the members, big shout out to the patrons. You know who you are. But what we're going to do now, though, is revisit those last round of games, which, of course, basically ended the title race. And then, of course, kick on forward to what's left in the Bundesliga season. Sit tight, hold on. Let's get into it. Here we go then, guys. Recapping the results, and they're on the screen right about now, including Heidenheim's 0-0 draw against Bochum. Meanwhile, St. Pauli lost to Stuttgart. I went the other way. Meanwhile, Leipzig and Bayern took out to a 3-3 thriller, which meant the title was not won on the day. I did go with a 3-2 win myself. My boys were only with an 8-goal thriller against Hoffenheim, 4-4 in the end. Not good for Mönchengladbach. Meanwhile, Union Berlin and Werder Bremen with a 2-2 draw. I went with a 2-1 win. Dortmund did beat Wolfsburg 4-0, which cost Ralf Hasenhüttl his job. He's out. I went with a 2-0 win myself. Holstein Kiel with a 3-1 win over Augsburg. Could they do it? Who knows? Freiburg with a 2-2 draw against Leverkusen. Again, that sealed the deal for Bayern. And, of course, Mainz and Frankfurt with a 1-1 draw. So that's, of course, the results. What about the table? Well, the table, my friends, if I can get there, looks a little bit like this, guys. I'm going to chop on over, if you just bear with me, sliding into the old air graphic arena. And as you see, it is Bayern, it is Leverkusen. They are, 8 points clear with just 2 games left. It is all over for the title race. Frankfurt are in a good spot for the Champions League. Freiburg also not too bad, but Dortmund and Leipzig are still in the mixer. Meanwhile, Mönchengladbach look like they're out of it. In fact, they are out of it. They cannot do it. But going down, it's Holstein Kiel, it's Bochum at the moment. And realistically, with 6 points available, Bochum are not, again, they're still not relegated. That 16th spot is the lifeline for all three of them at the moment, because it's going to be between those, you would imagine. 6 points is the available. Heidenheim could mathematically get up to 32. That's the best you can get out of that. So realistically, it is what it is right now. So let's kick on forward to the next round of games. This is the link for the Prediction League, which I will give you an update very, very soon, probably the next one. So sit tight, hold on. We're going to look into these ones then, folks. And we're going to all kick it off with a match on Friday night at Wolfsburg. That's right, as they take on Hoffenheim. Now managerless Wolfsburg up against the Hoffenheim side. Will currently find themselves into, where are they? They're all the way down to 15th right now with 31 points. Up against Wolfsburg, who are 12th with 39 points. They played 36 times since 2008. 18 wins for Wolfsburg, 10 wins for the visitors. That's Hoffenheim, and there's been 8 draws between the two sides. Wolfsburg, though, haven't won in the last 7, including 5 defeats over the last 6. Up against the Hoffenheim side, also winless in the last 3, though. Just 1 win in the last 6. Goodness gracious me, two sides really out of form. Last time they played over at Wolfsburg in the league, it was a 2-2 draw way back in February 2024. The reverse fixture this season over at Hoffenheim was a 1-0 win for Wolfsburg back in January. Wolfsburg on the back of that 4-0 loss to Dortmund. They haven't scored a goal in the last 2 matches. Hoffenheim on the back of that 4-4 thriller against my boys Borussia Mönchengladbach. The odds for this, though, 5-4 is your Wolfsburg, 2-1 is your Hoffenheim, 13-5 is the draw. Gears and goose. Going to go with a 2-0 win for Wolfsburg. Bounce back ability, new manager bounce perhaps, and we'll see if they can get themselves further up the table. Meanwhile, Werder Bremen up against Leipzig, coming out at the Wasserstadion. Oli Werner, the coach for Bremen, up against Zaki Low, or whatever his name is, for Leipzig. They played 19 times since 2013. 3 wins. Werder Bremen, 12 wins for Leipzig. It's been 4 draws between two sides. Coming into this, Werder Bremen are in 8th with 47 points. They're unbeaten in at least the last 6, but back-to-back draws up against Leipzig, who are winless in the last 3. They're all the way down into 6 right now, 50 points for the campaign. Like I said, 19 times they've played since 2013. Last time they played at Werder Bremen was a 1-1 draw back in December 2023. The reverse fixture this season at Leipzig, 4-2 win as it was for Leipzig. Bremen on the back of that 2-2 draw against Union Berlin. Last time around, Leipzig did a draw themselves against Bayern München to deny them the title, but of course they did get the title in the end. Coming into this, Werder Bremen, a 30-10 for the victory, 50-8 is your Leipzig, and 11-4 is the draw. Leipzig should win this one. They have been a bit shit. Werder have been good. They could grind it out. I was sitting on the fence for a little bit thinking about this, but I'm going to back Leipzig in the end. I think they'll just have too much quality to get over the line. Meanwhile, Union Berlin up against Heidenheim, come out to the Alte Alsten Försterei. Berlin find themselves into 13th spot right now, 37 points, up against Heidenheim, who are in 16th spot with 26 points. They played 16 times since 2014. 4 wins for Berlin. There's been 9 wins. Heidenheim has been 3 draws between the two sides. Berlin, though, unbeaten in at least the last 6, but they've drawn 4 on the spin up against a Heidenheim side who are coming into this on back-to-back games without a loss themselves. Last time around over at Berlin, it was a 2-2 draw way back in February 2024. The reverse fixture in Heidenheim, 2-0 wins was for Heidenheim back in January. In fact, Heidenheim are unbeaten against Union Berlin over the last 3 and just lost once against them in the last 6. So they like playing them. Berlin, though, on the back of that 2-2 draw against Werder Bremen. Last time around, Heidenheim on the back of that 0-0 draw themselves against Bochum most recently. The odds right here, right now, 6-5 is your Union Berlin, 12-5 is your Heidenheim, 23-10 the draw. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Berlin on this one, despite recent form for Heidenheim against their opposition. Let's go to Holstein Kiel up against Freiburg, coming to over at, where are they? They're playing the Holstein Stadion. Kiel coming into this all the way down to 17th right now, 25 points for them. They are unbeaten in the last 3, including back-to-back wins up against Freiburg, who come to find themselves in 4th, 52 points, unbeaten in the last 4, looking pretty good right now. They've only played twice since 2018, one win apiece, of course, with the last match they played at this very venue being a 2-1 win way back in October 2018. That was in the DFB Pokal in the second round. The reverse fixture this season over at Freiburg, 3-2 win it was for Freiburg back in January. Coming into this, whatever, Holstein Kiel on the back of that 3-1 win themselves over Augsburg, it looks like. Freiburg on the back of that 2-2 draw against former champions Leverkusen. The odds right here, right now, looking at it, it is 21-10 is your Holstein Kiel, 23-20 is your Freiburg, 27-10 is the draw. It's a tight one. Could be a draw. Going to go with the draw, 1-1 in the end, because they are fighting right now. Bochum against Mainz, coming at you over at the Von Volva Ruhrstadion. Bochum are struggling. They are 18th right now, back-to-back games without a loss, but both of those have been draws. Up against Mainz, who are 7th, 48 points for them. They are winless in the last 6 matches. They played each other 24 times since 1993. 7 wins for Bochum, 14 wins. Mainz, 3 draws between two sides last time around. In Bochum was a 2-2 draw back in October 2023. The reverse fixture this season in Mainz was a 2-0 win for Mainz, who are unbeaten against Bochum over the last 5, picking up 4 wins and just the 1 draw. Bochum on the back of that 0-0 draw themselves over Heidenheim, I think. Mainz on the back of that 1-1 draw themselves this past weekend. The odds for this, though, 21-10 is your Bochum, 5-4 is your Mainz, 5-2 is the draw. I'm backing Bochum to win here because it is desperation stations. Mainz are also in a bit of form right now, so we're going to back the host to make it interesting, and we'll see how well they get on. Meanwhile, my boys go to the champions, of course, Bayern. Can they play with their foot off the gas now? I don't know. It's at the Allianz Arena where they have played 68 times, these two clubs, since 1992. 31 wins for Bayern, 19 wins. Gladbach, there's been 18 draws between the two sides. Bayern are champions, top of the pop, 76 points for the season right now, unbeaten in the last 5. Up against Mönchengladbach, who are winners in the last 5, they are down into 9th with 45 points. Last time they played each other over at the Allianz Arena, it was a 3-1 win for Bayern back in February 2024. The reverse fixture this season at Gladbach was also a 1-0 win for Bayern, who've won 3 on the spin, that's right. Bayern on the back of a 3-3 draw against Leipzig. Gladbach on the back of that 4-4 draw against Hoffenheim. The odds here, 6-1 on is your Bayern, 14-1 is your Gladbach, 50-2 is the draw. I'd love to see Gladbach get a win here, but I can't see it. 3-0 win in the end. Let's go to Sunday's game. It's Leverkusen, it's Dortmund. It's at the Bayern Arena, of course. Dortmund trying to get into the Champions League spots. Bayern Leverkusen trying to hold their own, and it does look like Xabi Alonso is going to be making moves to Real Madrid for the new season. Now, coming into this, they have played 65 times since 1992. 23 wins for Leverkusen, 25 wins for Dortmund. There's been 17 draws. Leverkusen second, 68 points, unbeaten in the last 5. Up against Dortmund, who are 5th, 51 points. They've won 4 on the spin. Of course, and they're coming into this right here, right now. Last time around, over at Leverkusen at the Bay Arena, it was a 1-1 draw back in December 2023. The reverse fixture at the Signal Iduna Park, it was a 3-2 win for Leverkusen back in January. Leverkusen on the back of that 2-2 draw themselves this past weekend. Dortmund on the back of that 4-0 win over Wolfsburg, I think. 31-20 is your Leverkusen, 29-20 is your Dortmund, 29-10 is the draw. The bookies cannot really decide here. I'm going to go with a bit of a goal fest, 2-2 in the end. a point in the piece, which doesn't do anybody any good, really. Frankfurt take on St. Pauli in the penultimate game this weekend, coming onto the Deutsche Bank Park. Frankfurt under Dino Topmuller are third in the table, 56 points for the season. Just one defeat, though, in the last 6. Up against their opposition, which is St. Pauli, who are 14th for the table, 31 points for the season. Just one win, though, in the last 6 matches. They played 13 times since 1995. 7 wins for Frankie, 3 wins. St. Pauli, 3 draws as well. Last time around, of course, over at... where are we playing? We're playing at the Deutsche Bank Park. Last time they played each other, I do believe... Where are we? It was a 1-1 draw back in July 2011. That was in the Zweite Bundesliga. The reverse fixture this season was a 1-0 win for Frankfurt as well back in January. Frankfurt on the back of that 1-1 draw themselves over Mainz. St. Pauli with a 1-0 loss to Stuttgart most recently. The odds right here, right now, looking at it. Frankfurt 50-8 on for the victory, 90-4 is your St. Pauli, 10-3 is the draw. Frankie will win this one, 2-1 win, keeping the heat at the top of the table. And then we'll wrap it all up with Stuttgart up against Augsburg, coming at you over at the MHP Arena. Stuttgart are in 10th right now, 44 points for the season, just 1 win in the last 4, up against Augsburg, who are 11th with 43 points themselves, 1 win in the last 5. Now, they played 27 times since the year 2006. We got 14 wins, Stuttgart 10 wins, Augsburg. There's been 3 draws between the two sides. Last time around, over at Stuttgart, in the league, it was a 3-0 win for Stuttgart back in December 2023. The reverse fixture this season was a 1-0 win for Stuttgart as well, and Augsburg back in January. They also played at Stuttgart in the DFB Pokal this season, quarterfinals, and Stuttgart won that one 1-0. In fact, it's been 3 1-0 wins on the spin for Stuttgart, and they're unbeaten against Augsburg over the last 6. Coming into Stuttgart on the back of that 1-0 win over St. Pauli, Augsburg picking up a 3-1 loss to in their last match. Coming into this, though, looking at the odds, 20-11 on is your Stuttgart, 90-4 is your Augsburg, 10-3 is the draw. We're back in Stuttgart with the win, 1-0 winners. And, of course, what does that do to the table? It does this, of course. Bayern will remain champions. They're unbeaten. They cannot be caught. Of course, Frankfurt trying to keep the heat in 3rd. Leipzig will be in 4th. Going down, Bochum, they will probably be down on this one with just 1 game remaining. In fact, they're still not down. They're still not bloody down. Heidenheim and Holstein Kiel all duke it out for that playoff spot heading into the final game of the season. That's what I think. Let me know your thoughts and opinions as we look forward to that last game of the season. We'll be back with those predictions next time around. Hopefully I'll have an update for the Super and maybe even declare a winner. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. We're done.